Okay, good morning. Welcome to
FunMath184.
That's number 184. Okay, so today this morning for fun, we were taking a look at the 1990 AMC8, and problem number 16 turned out to be a pretty good lesson. Gave you a little bit of difficulty. So I made a simpler problem, and let's review. Or not review, you can walk through it. So here we go. Evaluate, and this is based on problem number 16 from the 1990 AMC8. Evaluate 123 minus 122 plus 121 minus 120 plus ... plus 3 minus 2 plus 1. Okay, how would you approach this problem?
Well, we can group these. And then there would be a 0 here. 1 minus 0.
Okay, so the first observation is we seem to have an odd number minus an even number every time, right?
Yeah,
So if we want to continue the process, we can write in the minus 0 if we want.
So we get 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1.
Okay.
The question is, how many ones?
The question is, how many ones are there?
Well, we can make a chart. The number of ones. And compared to the number of numbers there are.
Okay. Not sure what you mean, but hopefully when you explain it.
So if we have just the same number, actually no.
All right. What do you want your chart to be?
Well, if we know this 0,
Yeah.
then we could start it. We'll start with one number, and
Okay.
there's 1, 1.
All right.
Then 3 numbers here. There's 2 ones.
Okay.
Then 5 numbers. There's 3 ones, and etc. etc. etc.
Down to what?
Down to when there's 123.
So when there's 123 numbers, this is what we're trying to figure out, how many ones there are.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pause here for a second. Let's put the game on pause. We have a complicated problem here, trying to figure out how many ones there are in this list. So we make a simpler problem, and we'll just make a chart to keep track. What if we just started with just the first number here? So there's only one number, then there would only be 1, 1. Now, if we go back up here, now we've got 2 groups, right? So we've got 3 numbers, 1, 2, and 3. But that turns into 2 ones. Then if you imagine taking the next group, we would have 5 numbers, 5 minus 4 plus 3 minus 2 plus 1. We'd have 5 numbers, that would turn into 3 ones. Okay. So how does this help us?
Well, if we add 1 to each of these numbers, then so 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way down to 124. And then we divide by 2, we're going to get these numbers.
Okay.
So this number is 124 divided by 2.
Which is what?
Well, 100 divided by 2 is 50. It's 62.
Okay, so go ahead and write that in. Okay, so
Because we have an extra number. This one.
all right, so we have an interesting problem here that is relatively straightforward. We do some grouping, and notice we group in pairs of 2, with the exception of this last number, 1. But if you want to group it in a group of 2, you can write in a 0. Then we have to count the ones. Counting the ones is not the easiest thing in the world, so we make our life easier by counting a small number, a slightly larger, and we look for a pattern. The pattern here is these numbers go up by 2, these numbers go up by 1, and it turns out that they're roughly half. And so we can do one little trick, add a 1 to it, and then divide by 2, and we get 62. Okay? Good job. That concept of simplifying to a simpler problem when faced with a complicated problem is very important. Very important.